psalmist, David. So when you understand that once you start, you see yourself sitting in the God seat in triple darkness in the middle of nowhere, and you recognize and observe that position. You sitting in the center of creation. That's the mindset. You sitting in the center of creation and you creating everything. Okay, now you simplify the totality of creation. You got to bring it into your 3D model of yourself. I'm God pretending to be Rod. How am I supposed to behave as God in this 3D realm? This is how I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it this way. I'm going to rewrite who the system told me to be. I'm not going to be Rod. I'm going to be Morpheus Mysticus Magus. Morpheus Mysticus Magus is our chemical name that was adopted by the character Rod in order to break free from the character Rod and become the embodiment of the liberating mind that I want to be, so that I can help other people liberate their mind. So more.
Peace to the family. All right, let me just pull my mic closer. Let me just pull this up a little bit. Okay, what's good with y'all, family? I'm waiting. I'm still waiting on Mike. He's in LA traffic, so he should be here any moment now, any minute now. Mike should be here, but I said let me. We already starting a little late, so I said let me just start the show and kick it with y'all real quick. But what's good with y'all, family? Brother Rich is here, chopping it up with y'all real quick. Before, let me fix this thing. Before Brother Mike Rashid get here, it's going to be a great show. All right, what's going on with y'all in the chat? You know what I'm saying? It is a Saturday night, May 31st. Can y'all believe it's about to be June already? Wow. That's 6 months already. Wow. Man. Time go by so fast, man. Before y'all know it, it's crazy, man. Before you know it, we'll be like 60, 70, and, we'll be reminiscing on our life. And I don't know, man. Just let you know, don't take things so serious, man. We've been around a long time. We're going to be around. Do y'all realize we're going to be around a million years from now in some shape or form? And just to think, sometimes I wonder, will I even remember this lifetime if we're infinite beings? And let's say, and maybe time is different in another realm, but am I always going to remember this lifetime? I think about that a lot. Am I always going to remember this existence? So, I don't know, but it's just a very interesting discussion. But we're going to have a great conversation. Like I said, the brother Mike Rashid is on his way. He's stuck in LA traffic. He'll be here very, very shortly. But it's good to be here with y'all. In the meantime, what's going on with y'all? Let me see if y'all got anything, y'all. What's on your mind? Have you heard from King Karu? Who? No, I haven't. No. I usually reach out to the brother, and I haven't reached out to him in a while. So I haven't talked to the brother in a while. Oh, yeah, yo. Oh, we just got blessed by the Urban X. Yo, damn, I don't have it in front of me. Yeah, man. Black Dot will be on my channel this next week. He just released a book. Wow. All I'm going to say is very emotional. If y'all seen his trailer, very, very, very emotional. Very emotional. Somebody said getting ready to go to hike the mountain. Yeah. We definitely getting ready to hike the mountain. Shout out to my brother E-Snap down in Florida. Big Face Hunters. Y'all know how we get this money. That's our money mantra. We be listening to that Ply song, Plenty Money. And, talking to the quantum field. The quantum field understands your emotions. So, certain songs bring out that emotion in you. And we tapping into this money over here. I'm like Minister Jew. Minister Jew is Jackpot Jew. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Jackpot Jew. I got to get Jackpot Jew back on the show along with Noble Ampool. Shout out to Noble Ampool. You know, I gotta holler at them in terms of the Stone Mountain trip. There's a couple of people out there. I gotta call Rod Cool. I didn't hit Rod Cool up yet. I gotta hit back Miss Blue. I don't know if Miss Blue watching. Is somebody? I gotta call back Miss Blue. She waiting on my call. Miss Blue will be there. Um, yeah, a couple of people I gotta call that I didn't reach out to. But somebody said, "What do you think about wanting to be back to the late '80s?" Some people say you shouldn't get attached to certain times. Yeah, no, definitely. Ramsha, did you get your cigar yet? Did you get your cigar yet? Oh, what happened to Dr. B? Oh, it got postponed. Thanks for bringing that up, King. It got postponed. He's in album mode. He's working on his music. I didn't know that. So he's gonna be on in about 2 weeks, King. He's gonna be on in about 2 weeks. Dr. B is gonna be on in about 2 weeks, but he's in album mode and he'll be on when his album is ready. He wants to present something special to y'all. So shout out to Dr. B, and he'll be on in about 2 weeks. All right. Yeah, need Minister Jew on. Somebody said you had a live recently with the goddesses. The younger one said the fall of black civilization came because of the black man was jealous of black women. What the F was she talking about? Yeah, I don't know. I don't argue with history. If y'all know that, I don't know if y'all know this, but I'm not arguing anybody about history. This is the conclusion I came to, y'all. Why I don't argue about history and what happened thousands and hundreds of thousands and maybe millions of years ago. This is why. This is my logic. If something happened on the show today, an argument transpired, right? 1 week from now, there would be 40 different versions about the argument that happened today. Just in 1 week, there would be 40 different versions. If that happens in 1 week, could you imagine 1,000 years, how many versions there are? In 1 week, there's 40 different versions of what transpired. Nah, this happened, that happened. No, did you see, brother? No, did you see this? Imagine 1,000 years. So I'm not arguing. I respect everybody's opinion, but I'm not arguing with anybody about the Moors, about the black woman, about the ancient Kemites and ancient America. I'm not arguing with nobody about none. All I'm concerned with is being the best version of myself, utilizing my full potential, and tapping into the blueprint for God power. That's it. That's all I'm doing. That's all I'm doing. I mean, I'm interested in history and I study it and I bring people on here and I hear different schools of thought, but it just happened so long ago. So I'm like, wow, I can't debate anybody on that if I know what would happen in 1 week. But listen, enough of me talking. Let's get this thing started because I promise y'all this is going to be an amazing show today. And I want to welcome to the platform. I see this brother. Let me just give you an intro. I see this brother. Show this brother who he is. And I always say, he got an award last year. At Billy's Awards, his award show, and I was like, damn, I got to reach out to the brother, but I ended up having to leave. I didn't run into him. So when Billy told me the brother just released a book, I said, hell yeah, let me get the brother on my show. Let me get the brother on my show now. So without further ado, his first time making the debut on the platform, Mike Rashid King. Welcome, King. How you doing, my brother?
Peace, brother Rich. I appreciate you. Thanks for having me on, sharing time and space with me. It's an honor.
Indeed. Listen, man. Listen. Tell the people this is like I said, this is your debut on the channel. Tell the people about a little bit about yourself. For those who don't know who you are, you out there in the streets, you're making a lot of noise. Some people may not know exactly everything that you into. Tell the people a little bit about yourself, Mike.
Yes, sir. Mike Rashid King, originally from Brooklyn, New York. I'm now out in beautiful California. I've been out here for a few years. I'm an entrepreneur. My background, music, boxing, sports, training, and people got very familiar with me around 2011, 2012, when social media started proliferating everybody's space, right? Instagram, Facebook, so on and so forth. And they got familiar with me with my fitness content. You know, it was fitness content. It was very unique, but I also had, I used to do this series called Mental Jewels, right? And it was just basically me breaking down different things in regards to mindset, my philosophies and so on and so forth. I figured like, wow, I was getting this audience. Let me share something meaningful with them, and the physical training, all of that stuff is very important as well, super important. But I also wanted to give them some of that adorn their minds, right, with some mental jewels. So I was doing that, both of those things, and I kind of carved a unique niche for myself in the space. And even with the training, you know, people really was drawn to my videos because they trying to figure out why they like it so much. And it was like, 'cause it's like the culture, you know what I'm saying? It's like my training videos was like rap videos, kind of like with beats, dope beats, music. We dressed normal. We didn't wear like stringer tank tops and all of that kind of stuff. So it
Mm-hmm.
was like a vibe, you know what I mean? And it was exciting. Um, you know, and ultimately it was like just telling people to push themselves and, try to, tap into their higher selves, even with physical training, because that's the start. And, from there things grew, and the community that I was developing, I've never been a person to that people do deals at. So I was like, let me just create my own business in this space, right? So I started doing that, man. I'm an entrepreneur from the start. Like I've never felt like I fit into this system, right? This American system. So I had to make my own system, and that's what I've been doing for over 12 years. Before that I did it as well, but it was illegal. It wasn't legal, right?
Right, right,
By
right.
the government standards, but I still did what I had to do. I mean, that is the American dream. So many people got started like that.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, I transitioned to doing things the right way, even by the law.
Mm-hmm.
And things really worked out, brother. For real, I can't lie. I have a pretty good life. I have a beautiful family, beautiful children, uh, good friends. And the work that I do is very impactful. And I'm at a stage of my life. If you're familiar with like Maslow's hierarchy of needs, you get to that point to where you're at that self actualization phase, and I'm in that space, right? My needs are met, my people are good. So it's not about, for me, it's not about the normal things that I have been tethered to in this society. It's more like service, like for real. And that was in my foundation. I've always grown up, with specific teachings on what I'm supposed to do, my divine duties. But now I'm really living it, like in a profound way. Like that is the priority of the things that I do. Is the duty, is the work part.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
The,
sir.
the person you are today, how when you were young, did you always feel like this same person you are today, or did it take some time and development? Sometimes people go through trauma. Sometimes people go through certain points in their life that just defines them. Was there a defining moment in your life, or was just Mike always like this from a youngin, and you could always remember being like this? Or was there a defining moment that created this person that we see today?
Yes, sir. There wasn't one particular moment. There wasn't one particular trauma. It
Mm-hmm.
was always a series of things, right? Atomic reactions, nuclear reactions in my life.
Mm-hmm.
But I've always been this same kind of person. I've always been very serious.
Mm-hmm.
I've always been heavy into books, into studying, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like my formative years, I was valedictorian, honor students, and so on and so forth. I did excellent in school until I got to college. And when I got to college, I just wasn't, I had nobody, I had no parameters, right? I was kind of just doing my own thing. So I had that deep love and of knowledge and learning and that inquisitiveness, but I also was becoming a young man and wanted to do
Mm-hmm.
man stuff. So that was a little bit stronger. So I left, but I've always been the same person. It's just levels of maturity had to develop, right? But I will say, like, when you mention trauma,
Mm-hmm.
I'm a person that say I don't have trauma, but I can attest there have been traumatic incidents that have happened in my life. But I have to, I give praise to the Most High. Like I've always dealt with it in a easy way, right? I never let anything beat me down, and part of that is my ego. Like I don't like to. I won't succumb to a loss, right? It's like you got to kill me, you know. I
Mhm.
won't just say, "Oh, yep, that was it. I couldn't handle it." So the things that are perceived as traumatic, I was just defiant to them.
Mhm.
Wouldn't lay down to it. So
Mhm.
yeah, and
What
and I guess that made me a stronger person.
Indeed, indeed. What is like I said, you got this new book, so I definitely want to get into that.
Yes,
I
sir.
want to set the ground for that though. What is Mike Rashid's concept of God? There's so many concepts of God flowing around. The internet is full of information, misinformation, of overload of information. What is your with everything that's out there right now, everything going on inside of your body and your soul right now? What is your concept, individual concept of God right now that may be different from everybody else watching, Mike?
Yes, sir. I'm God. I am my God. Right. I I have. We can take it. Let's take it to scripture because this
Mm-hmm.
is a common denominator,
Mm-hmm.
and people feel a way with me referring to myself as God and to other people that recognize their divinity, referring to them as God.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, well, in your scripture, God is man, right?
Mm-hmm.
Who you think is God in your scripture, he calls himself God, but he says you're God as well. And he mentions other people who have that godliness in them, right? He
Mm-hmm.
talks about, the kingdom of God being within, right?
Mm-hmm.
There was people that came to Yeshua and said, Master, what do I have to do miracles like you? And he was like, I'm paraphrasing, but he was like, my brother, once you realize who you are, your miracles will be greater than mine, right?
Mm-hmm.
Every mention of God, of the divine,
Mm-hmm.
is of a man, is of a person in
Mm-hmm.
every book. And
Mm-hmm.
then some will say, well, that's figurative. How do you know? Where's the footnotes, right?
Mm-hmm.
And why is it figurative? Because you're saying it. Here's the thing. I am not tethered to how things have been taught, right?
Mm-hmm.
I read for myself,
Mm-hmm.
right? Which most people don't do, and I understand why. People are busy with their lives, so on and so forth. And as time goes on, people get further and further away from source material in regards to these religious contexts or spiritual frameworks, right? People are too smart for religion, which is fine. That's okay.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, all of these systems make a lot of sense if you really look at them with a clear mind, right? And an objective mind, not clouded by the perception that's been given to us. Because most people, pretty much all people, their only perception of scripture is what they're taught, not from their own studies, not from them just reading it for themselves. So, and I learned a great deal about religion in college because I took world religion, and it really opened my mind. I was like, wow, okay, I kind of see what's going on a real technical standpoint. But anyway, to answer your question, good brother,
Mm-hmm.
God is in man, man is God, right? And we can, if you really look at creation, right? What do we consider God, right? God created us, but we
Mm-hmm.
create ourselves in essence, right?
Mm-hmm.
Our parents start, chemicals from their bodies come together, and then things, an amalgamation of sorts. And then once our mother give birth, after them nurturing us and feeding us, we're starting to develop ourselves, even on a cellular and a molecular level, right? When we're in embryo, and when the sperm and the egg starts to incubate, everybody starts out feminine, female, and then genes start expressing this way. Some stay over here. Who's controlling those genes, right? The
Mm-hmm.
circumstances in which we are in, like our mother's womb,
Mm-hmm.
is helping that, right? And then our own fitness, even in that small genesis stage, is helping us develop and activate and turn on and off genes.
Right.
Now, as we grow, we're growing because we're consuming energy, fuel,
Mm-hmm.
food, water, we're resting,
Mm-hmm.
so on and so forth, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is how we literally grow. I've been in so many different countries, and you go to these poor countries where people barely eat. They're tiny, they're
Mm-hmm.
short, they're real small,
Mm-hmm.
right? They don't grow. They're not growing because you have to, it's a process. Like our genetics, the DNA, for those who don't know what DNA is, Dinucleic acid, that is the genetic instructions to create us from our parents and then from their parents, so on and so forth. You know, that gives us the framework of us, but there's a lot that we do on our own, right?
Mm-hmm.
Decisions that we make, right? So, for instance, I work out, I go to the gym. I'm developing myself in that way. I'm creating that kind of person, that kind of archetype. So, everything about the human experience, you know, about our lives is all on us. We create ourselves. Now, some people just let go and let other people create them and shape them and mold them and create their world. But, you know, when you recognize that people really understood, if people really understood that they are divine, that they have that in them, I think more people would take their lives into their own hands. More people would qualify themselves enough to trust themselves to create their own worlds. And that's what I preach. And that's what the book is about, brother.
Indeed. So there's a lot of talk about with brothers on the internet about being purpose driven, and I believe I heard you say that as well. You might have said that on your last interview with Billy.
Yes, sir.
And that's something that I live by, to be purpose driven. I think that my purpose comes first in my life, and then everything comes after that. And if I'm able to fulfill my purpose, then I could take care, I could do everything. I could take care of the world, I could take care of my family, I could take care of myself. But my purpose is like my main priority. What I want to ask you is, with women often don't feel complete unless they have a child. A lot of women, most women, I'm not saying all women. Men often don't feel complete unless they have a purpose. Not saying all men, but some men, most men feel like they need to have a purpose and they feel complete. So I just gave you two genders who need something to feel complete. In order for a woman to, like I said, she wants this child to feel complete, she needs a man to impregnate her.
Yes, sir.
What I want to ask you is, in terms of a man and his purpose, does he need a woman to, I don't want to say impregnate him, but to give him that energy to give birth to that purpose, the same way we give that woman that sperm, that energy to give birth to that child? Because often your purpose can be seen as your child. That's your baby. Mike got a fitness gym. That's his baby. He takes care of it just like he takes care of his child. But in order to get that fitness gym or whatever you got, did you need a woman to assist in that, just the same way the woman needs a man to assist in the making of that child, my brother, that physical child?
Yes, sir. That's an excellent question, brother.
Thank you, brother.
So I don't, yes, and my question will be quite quantum and not linear.
Oh, I
okay?
love it. No, I love it. We quantum here. We quantum over here, Mike.
Yes, sir. So yes and no. You know,
Yeah.
women, I think generally speaking, a woman's purpose is to bring life into this planet. Like, cause that's all right. Let's take it back to like the necessities, right? To what every organism on this planet has an innate desire to reproduce, to pass on its data, its genes, right? So we absolutely need women for that, but we need us to plant the seed for that to happen. We need each other. Men need women, women need men. Now we're past the stage of trying to populate the earth, right? We are past the stage of just survival. We're way past that. So now it's like purpose and stuff like that. And I think a woman's purpose is to rear her children. Part of it, right? I think that's a part of the completion. But a man's purpose, now part of our purpose is to protect our children and our women, but that's not the only purpose, I think, right? Because our children are gonna have their own lives and go off and do their thing. And I'm ready. Look, I love my children to death, but I'm ready for that. I'm mentally prepared for when they like, all right, pops, I'm out of here. So, because that's a reality. And their lives are going to be very important, not necessarily me, right? So my job with them will be done pretty soon, honestly. So after that, it's like, what am I doing, right? If a person is strong, have a lot of momentum, a lot of energy, a lot of intellectual resources, financial resources, spiritual resources, so on and so forth, it's that man's duty to give it, to provide, not just for himself and his family, but for humanity, for the community. So I'm a Muslim. I grew up in the Nation of Islam, and we have a book called the Supreme Wisdom, and in it we have very specific duties, right? Out of all people, total population, 85% of people are deaf, dumb, and blind, right? Now, that's not to say anything negative about them. That's just a factual statement of majority of people. Then you have a small percent of people, 10% in particular, that have knowledge, but they utilize that knowledge to keep that big population in that stage of triple stages of darkness, to be deaf, dumb, and blind, to keep them as slaves, right? To profit off of them. And then you have a smaller percentage, which we fall into, is a 5%, and we're the poor righteous teachers, not poor in an economic sense, but poor in the sense that we're shunned by society, governments. We're not allowed at the table. But that's good. That makes us strong. Now, my duty in that is to resurrect dead souls. So my people that are in that triple stage of darkness, to get them out of it, to bring them to light, and to fight my enemy, which is that 10%, the wicked bloodsuckers of the poor. That's my job. That's my duty. And it hasn't been, as I grow in age, my mission and my vision on that becomes so clear, brother, so clear. So, and it's interesting because it's like, I work hard, and I've been working hard for a long time. And it's like, I've been securing assets to be able to fight, because you can't go to war broke, right? It costs money to go to war, right? And there used to be a time that my wars were with people that look like me, but I've grown out of that, and I see who my real enemy is. And it's not a racial thing, right? Because there's people that look like me that are still my enemies, right? And
Right.
a black enemy to a black person is worse than a white enemy, right? A person that look like you, a person that is of your kindred or of your tribe, that is, a traitor or that sells you out, those are way worse than the devil, right? The most egregious type of devil, right? So anyway, but there's systems that we're fighting against, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm all in for that. So that's what purpose is. Now, every man has. Listen, I don't think that my route is for everybody, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a person that do fun. You understand me? Because for me, fun is like working, is like progress, is like purpose, like you were saying earlier.
Mm-hmm.
And people got to understand, men should understand. I just think it's weird. I think it's a waste of masculine energy to be pursuing fun as a man, right?
Introvert. That's introvert. I like that. Yeah, go ahead, brother. Go ahead.
There's a time though that, I just wanted to provide the safe space for people in my world to have fun. I used to enjoy watching them, but even now I'm like, nah, let's get on to something better and bigger, right? More purposeful. So that's just where I'm at personally. For every man, I can't say what is for him. I know that I've always been just different, I've never been with like the crowd, any kind of herd or pack mentality.
Mm-hmm.
I was the only child. I have a sister, but we grew up in different households. So I always had my own mind. So, and that's just who I am. Every group of friends I had all my life, all of the years of my life, I was always the guy, let's go work out. Go check this book out. You know what I mean? Just trying to enlighten my people to something higher. Even when I was, living another lifestyle in the streets, I was still tethered to some wisdom. You understand? I never went but so far because I was still tethered to something. And my conscience was always right there, like, yo, your grandparents would be so disappointed in you. I mean, so I could never go but so far. And I'm thankful for that. But yeah, I think a man's purpose should have some kind of purpose, And listen, I don't care what you do for work, right? I don't care if you're a landscaper. Honor that job. That's a divine job. Like, people are paying you for a service. You should honor those people and do the best that you could do, right? One of my favorite books is called Tao Te Ching, and the author was a man named Lao Tzu, right? In one of these ancient dynasties, and his occupation was a janitor, a custodian of a castle. He cleaned floors, But this man's wisdom was so profound. So people got to stop tethering importance to money, to currency. It's just a tool. That's it, right? Some people are better served without it. is not necessary for everybody, right? And unfortunately, in this country, man, one thing I do have a problem with, and I fell into this for a while, and I had to get out of it. But like putting money at such a high level of importance, right?
Mm.
The fact that people put it at such a high level of importance, and the fact that there's a bottleneck on wealth, right? It's just a small percentage of people that got all the wealth.
Mm.
Most people are poor because people don't realize that you're not paying attention to the economy. The middle class is evaporating rapidly,
Mm.
rapidly. You have rich and you have poor, and
Mm.
the poor group is huge, right? So, but if everybody's putting all this super high importance on money, right, financial wealth, you're going to have a lot of people with anxiety, a lot of people that feel unworthy, so on and so forth. That should not be the measure of wealth. I'm sorry, yeah, of wealth, of spiritual wealth, of metaphysical wealth, right? That's just one type of wealth. Bro, I live where I live at. This is a very affluent area. You know how many pathetic people that I've met out here? Bro,
Mm.
I can't. I hate you. Like I hate y'all. Like you know what I mean? I'm sitting at dinner with certain people, and just the things that come out of their mouths is just fascinating, right?
Mm. Could,
I've
could, you,
never
could you give us an example? Like what's
just people with just these mindsets of like money this, money that, car this, car that, bitch this, bitch that, drugs this, drug that. You know, it's just pathetic. It's like I went to dinner. I don't really go out ever, not in a long time, but I went to dinner with a good friend of mine, good brother from the gym on New Year's Eve.
mm.
And you know, it was people I only knew him. I didn't know the other people that he had with him. And these people were like, one of the guys sitting next to me, we're at a really nice restaurant, and I noticed the guy's not eating his food. I'm like, yo, why you not eating? He like, man, because I'm on coke and I'm on this and I'm on that. I'm like, interesting. So I'm like watching him now. I'm like, it was interesting. I'm like, what do you do? Like, what's next? The next place we went to, he did more drugs, and you should have seen this man. It was just real pathetic. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like just just not. He's a victim. You know, what I mean? A victim waiting to happen and a liability. So the conversation, not him, but just different situations. The conversation sometimes it just be so shallow and only about money, 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 money. It's like, bro, I don't. That's not something I want to talk about. Sorry.
Mm.
You know what I mean? So it's just like low level. Is a amplification of low level energy in some of these affluent areas. I'm not saying it's all like that, right? I like hanging out with a lot of older people,
Mhm.
and and people from my religious community is different, but it's really interesting out here, man. It's really interesting.
Mike, and since you mentioned religion just now and your association with your religious community, a lot of people associate religion with the suppression of the what we call in the spiritual community the divine feminine energy. So with everything going on right now on the internet and so much talk on this rise of the divine feminine energy, I want to know, how do you feel coming from your religious background, the Nation of Islam? How do you feel about all this talk? I mean, so much talk about the age of Aquarius, the age of the divine, the rise of divine feminine energy. How does a brother from the Nation of Islam feel about that?
Well, I got to keep it 100. I'm not versed on the rise of the divine feminine.
Mm,
I'm not really familiar with these concepts.
mm.
So, you know, if you can enlighten me, I can give you my perspective.
Well, let me just give you an example. Let's say your left brain is analytical, logical.
Yes,
And that
sir.
represents the masculine energy. The right side of the brain is intuitive and imaginative. That represents the feminine aspect of your brain. So they're saying that that aspect of our being is becoming more prevalent. The woman who has a dominant feminine energy because she's intuitive, because she brings gods into this realm, because she has the ultimate portal of all portals, that she's the most advanced. If we was to look at ourselves as avatars, that body, that, let's just say, that black woman, that body, that physical avatar, if we was playing a video game. Like, you play a video game in an NBA 2K and you pick the characters, and there's advanced characters and there's non-advanced advanced characters. The most advanced character you could pick in the video game of life would be the black woman, because she has the portal to bring gods into this realm. She's intuitively tapped into this realm, and her body just goes through things that nobody else in this realm could imagine. And that energy that she represents is coming back to the surface. And we live in a system of patriarchy. I would say white patriarchy, because they dominate and they got a whole nother way of looking at things, but it's going to change now. And their way of thinking is not going to be popping in the next era or the next paradigm. And I think that, I wish I could have summed it up better, but I guess that's
yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I think I understand what you're saying. All right, maybe I see things a little different. I don't necessarily see the woman as more advanced, nor do I see myself as a man more advanced. Look at the earth, right?
Yeah.
The earth is vastly important, right?
Yeah.
From it sprouts life, right? But it has to be a seed planted, or it's just barren. A woman, you're right, she cultivates life. It's a miracle. But there has to be a seed planted. So can't have one without the other. So I see us both as just, it's so much talk about men, woman, this, man, this. I don't really have one that's more important than the other, because I don't want to live in a world without women, right? And I don't think they want to live in a world without men. Even a lot of them say that. But, ultimately we need each other. It's like a key and a lock. And yeah, I'm so tethered to the idea of man and woman. I don't really have a hierarchy of who's better or who's more important. That's not even a thing. It's not a possible. You can't have one without the other. Just like you can never experience love without having hate in you, or experiencing hate. You can never experience joy without pain. You can't experience the heat without cold. These things don't exist. The universe is built on duality, day and night, right? So it just don't exist if there's not both. If there's not yin, there's no yang. There's no nothing. So negative, positive. So I don't really see things from my viewpoint. I just can't see it like that. I just don't see it. I hear it. It sounds wonderful, but someone can rhetorically and intellectually make the same remarks about the masculine, which I don't think is productive personally.
No, I definitely get you. Yo, Mike, have you seen my timeline got bombarded? My algorithm got bombarded. I watch a lot of the spiritual information on YouTube from some of the great creators out there. Yes, and my timeline got bombarded. I don't know if you watch some of the white people, the so-called white people in the spiritual community. You ever heard of Aubrey Marcus?
No, sir. Oh, yeah. Aubrey, yeah.
Yeah, so my timeline, my algorithm got bombarded. He made an announcement saying that he got himself a second wife, right? Yes, and he's calling it radical monogamy. And oh man, I done seen 20 different videos pop up on my timeline. People, they mad like a mother effer at him with this shit. They're like, he's forming a cult. He's this, he's that. And maybe he is. I'm not here to defend him. Maybe he is. But what I want to ask you, it was funny. I watched a couple of videos. It was funny. I'm just having a good time watching it, because I know who I am, and who I am, it has nothing to do with what anybody else is. I know what I'm into with my woman, and so I'm able to have a good time and laugh at shit. But what I want to ask you is, Mike, it seems like people are more upset with the idea of polygamy. And okay, and this is going into talk of the nuclear family, because that's something you talked about in your book. And it seems like people are more upset with the idea of polygamy if somebody makes an announcement of being a polygamist than if they make an announcement of being gay. Like the gay shit, it seems like people could rock with that. The woman could rock with that. But it seems like You say you in polygamy, and the community went crazy on him. And I highly doubt if he made an announcement saying he turned gay, but his wife decided to still be with him. I highly doubt he would have had that same outrage. And if that's the case, I would love to know, a brother like yourself, why would that be, in your opinion, my brother?
Yes, sir. Well, here's the thing, man.
Yeah.
Our people, man, our people have concrete on their consciousness, on their original way of thought,
Oh,
right?
wow.
We've been, this is Europe. America is Europe.
Ooh.
United States is literally an extension of Great Britain, because that's what this is. The people that left Britain, they came here to colonize the East Coast and then spread out. You know the whole story. So for all intents and purposes, this is Europe, right? Now, this is very interesting. If you look at the countries with the highest divorce rates, America's the first, and what follows is other European nations. Okay, now let's take it back. Let's take it back to the spread of Christianity. Let's take it back to how the Romans, because, for those who don't know, if it was not for Rome co-opting Christianity, you might not have ever heard of Christianity, right? Or it would not have been called Christianity, because that was not the name of the Messiah, right? So anyway, they taught it in their own way. And I'm not super knowledgeable on European customs, but one thing I do know is they have this weird thing about women and the treatment of women, right? Now, if you look at like early Europe, these places, they had, say for instance, the bathhouse, right? No one had a shower in their crib. This is like ancient times. It would be a public bathhouse. And if you look at like these queens or these people of antiquity, they even would write in their memoirs how they would brag about never bathing, right? People don't realize perfume, and those European clothes with the fluffy Shakespearean whatever, it was to conceal stench, right? Because people didn't bathe. They didn't bathe because you had to be naked somewhat in public, and nakedness was associated with sex, and they made sex like this weird thing, right? Now, let's go back to Augustine of Hippo. Augustine of Hippo is the man who came up with the concept of original sin and said that Eve was the reason for the downfall of humanity, right? This is a guy who had infidelity issues. And that was something that he infused in Christianity. That was his contribution to the church, which elevated his status to be a saint. They venerated him to a saint, right? Because that gave them a lot of control over people. All right, y'all are all sinners, so you got to come here, confess, tell me everything, and this is where you'll get salvation in the church. Word. So anyway, I'm gonna tie this all together.
Yes.
So the idea of sexuality became very strange. Let me take it back. Okay. So then you have, all right, so you had the Council of Nicaea. This was like these big debates, these Europeans having these debates on what Christianity was going to look like. Take these books out, these, and so on and so forth. And then you go to, I believe, the King of Ireland is somewhere in Great Britain, a man named King James, who we all know of his version of the Bible, KJV, King James. King James was a flaming homosexual. He's a wild homosexual, right? So, but he was the king because of his bloodline. So they're like, all right, we need you to have a kid, right? So he begrudgingly had a kid, but he was obsessed with Greek men because homosexuality was very prevalent in the Mediterranean, Greece and Rome, right? So he was fascinated by Greek dudes, right? So he ordained a version of the Bible that he translated from Greek. That wasn't what they spoke. That wasn't the language that they spoke. They spoke in Aramaic and Hebrew, right? But he chose a Greek version to translate. Now, stay with me now. So he was a homosexual, right? So it's kind of problematic when in the Bible it's saying that's a huge sin to a man to covet a man, right? So, but whatever. Now, the customs and the teaching and the spreading of Christianity was extremely barbaric, right? Now, through Christianity, slavery was, we would not have chattel slavery had not the Catholic Church existed, because it was ordained by one of these popes in one of these papal bulls. There was two major ones to go into Africa, enslave, subjugate, so on and so forth. One to come to the Americas, do the same thing. And then they did one in Europe, just, terrorizing, torturing other Europeans that were not, that didn't want to convert to Christianity. And for some reason, they targeted women a great deal. They would burn them alive. Oh, she talked back, burn her alive, right? Nothing Christian about that. That's satanic. That's human sacrifice, right? Burning a human. So they were burning women mostly, right? So you see where I'm going. So now back to America. I said this is Europe, right? Basically. So this is a Eurocentric way of living. Now, highest divorce rate in the world, right here in America. Christian nation, America. That's what they say, right? So the customs that we have here, it comes from Europe. Now, one man, one woman, that's European, all right? Asia, Africa, the Far East, all of these different places, men of stature had multiple wives, some concubines, right? And it wasn't just, I'm sure some guys were freaks, right? But it was for societal purposes. If there is a city, a village, right? And five of the men are powerful, wealthy, intelligent, so on and so forth. And there's a plethora of women, right? It's those men's responsibility to plant their seeds so that the children that's born in that village are well taken care of, they're educated, they're smart, so on and so forth, versus a poor man having a bunch of children who are going to be burdens on that society, on that village, so on and so forth, right? So in different parts of Africa, if we're brothers, right, and I go to war, there's no cell phones. I don't come back. My wife and my children are your responsibility because you're my brother, right? It was always a righteous reason. It wasn't just because, right? Now, some men were just super wealthy and that's what they wanted and that's what they got. That's just how things have always been. So you come to America. Oh, that's illegal. It's illegal for a man to have two wives.
Right.
Wives that want to be with him, that he can take care of. But it's legal for a man to marry a man, a woman to marry a woman, right? So what are we talking about? We have a demonic system here. And I'm not advocating polygamy, but I have zero issues with polygamy. I think it's a fine system, just like monogamy is a fine system. Most systems don't work because most people in these systems are not in a place to where they have the emotional intelligence, the emotional resilience to deal with somebody all the time, right? Most relationships in America fall apart because of not infidelity, because of financial issues, because this is such a toxic capitalist society, which all the importance is on capitalism, right? So we have a system, we operate in a really bizarre system that is contrary to the original way of thinking and how things should be. Because here's the thing at the end of the day, it should not be nobody's business on how many wives somebody chooses to have. Like, I don't care. I don't care what any consenting grown adults do with their time. It's not I don't care, right? I don't care if somebody don't want to be alone for the rest of their life. I don't care. I really don't even care about people wanting to be gay. I don't care. It has nothing to do with me, right? But I do think it's very bizarre that, like you said, the guy want to be gay and keep his wife. They be like, go boy, or whatever, versus a guy who wants to take care of two women, right? Because we have to look at this as well. And the ladies in here, listen, I know y'all don't want to hear this, but this is facts. Women are the gatekeepers to life, like you said, right? Women, the stakes are very high for a woman, right? Because a woman can get stuck with a baby. A man will impregnate a woman and just run off. That happens way too often. So a woman have to vet her man to the highest degree. I don't think anybody should have sex if they're not 100% committed or married, right? So especially women, do not give that kind of access to yourself if you don't have that commitment. Now, if a man, look, women have, like I said, they're the gatekeepers. They're very specific on what they want. They want a provider. They want a protector. They want somebody who can lead, right? So on and so forth. So most men are not that, okay? So their pool to choose from is smaller than a man's pool to choose from. That's one thing. Women have longer life expectancies than men because we take risk, we take chances, we live harder, we die before women. So that takes our numbers down even more. We are displaced more than women, meaning we're in the military or we're incarcerated at higher rates than women. That takes the number even down further. And then we have this issue of homosexuality. That takes the numbers down. So you take, women are already choosy. They all want the same few guys, right? A lot of guys, they would not, one guy can flirt, you would say that's sexual harassment. Another guy that you're attracted to, oh, it was okay, right? They don't want to be bothered, women, right? For the most part, and rightfully so. So it's a paradox. It's like y'all have such high standards in women. You should have high standards, but y'all are competing for just a few men. You understand? Men that are worthy of you, men that can take care of you, protect you, provide for you, so on and so forth, right? So in some of those cases, not in mine, I'm good with monogamy, but in some of those cases, they're going to have to share. Now, unfortunately, a lot of times women will just turn a blind eye. The man will lie, you know he's lying, so on and so forth. So you're practicing polygamy anyway, but it's not ethical, right? But if somebody is like open about their ethical polygamy, you have a problem with it. And that's just not mature.
Indeed, indeed. Ooh, that got y'all going in the chat, I see. Yeah, that got y'all going. All right, Mike, let me ask you this, Mike. Let me see. Oh, let me put myself back on the screen. Well, what's the difference between tapping in, and we're about to get into this book real heavy. Matter of fact, I'm gonna find a picture while you answer this question. The divine quintessence.
Yes,
What's
sir.
the difference, Mike? All this talk in the spiritual community about the age of Aquarius, Mike, and what's going on now, and superpowers being activated. What's the difference, Mike, between if I became conscious and I tapped into my God power in 1995 versus if I tapped into it in 2025? Because with the way people talk now, people think they really getting superpowers, and I'm not saying they're not or they are, but it's just promoted much more now, and of course because of the internet. But what do you think spiritually would be the difference between us gaining knowledge of self in 1995 versus 2025, Mike?
That's a good question, brother.
Think about
I think it's the obvious things, right? Technology is far more advanced now, you know. So you have people have access to way more information now than we ever had. When I was growing up, me and Billy was talking about this the other morning. Salute to the general. We had encyclopedias, right?
I remember that.
You know, a book report. I had to go to the library. I had to get the book. I had to read the book. You know, so now we could distill information like that, right? We have the internet. We have artificial intelligence. They call it artificial, but intelligence is just intelligence, machine intelligence, you could say. So we have the internet and we have machine intelligence. So you know, the listen, I was just in the movies with my daughter, right? And I just wasn't interested in the movie. So I was doing research, you know, and these AI large language models have deep research capabilities. There's no way I could research these things in the amount of time in 1995. You know, you would need a few people to help you with this research, and it would take a while. It would take weeks, right? Where you could do the same thing in hours now. So there's really no excuse for anything now, you know. So I think that people listen. Things are getting more and more real as time goes on, right? And we have the ability. Now it's a double-edged blade, brother Rich. Because here's the thing: when there was less, I'm not going to say less technology because I think the same amount of technology has always existed, right? But when people were not as inundated with information, they have more time to sit with their mind, sit in
Yes, sir.
silence, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they were able to tap into a more fluid type of intellect and a more fluid type of creativity, a more feminine creativity, if you will, because I do relate to feminine energy being very creative, and I have a high degree of creative feminine energy on that end. But my framework is a billion% man, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, uh, so there's a difference there. So, because even myself, the quiet moments of my life is when I have the best ideas, when I
Yeah.
have the breakthrough thought.
Yeah, man.
Even if I'm in the shower, brother Rich, shower in the sauna, it's when it's quiet, when my phone is away from me, right?
Mm,
So, so we have these great tools. This is a supercomputer essentially, right? We have these powerful tools, but we got to utilize it properly. So, back then we had a lot more silence.
right. Yes.
It's, it strengthens our technology right here.
Mm-hmm. Glad you said.
Unfortunately, and I'm
Glad you
sure
said.
you see this too, bro.
Yeah.
People are abusing AI now.
Yeah.
You're not thinking anymore. They're just letting it think for them, and it's very obvious, and they're doing themselves a huge, huge
Disservice.
disservice. They're
Yeah.
making themselves weak. Their brains are going to atrophy.
Wow.
So
You
I think now is just more advanced. We have the ability to elevate at such higher levels now.
indeed. And with all the information that's out right now, Mike, I remember watching a basketball game. In the basketball game, the team that they thought was going to lose and wasn't as good, they was winning versus they was winning against the veteran team. An
Yes, sir.
announcer said that they're too naive to know that they're supposed to lose. And I
Mm,
remember when I first came into spirituality, being naive, I would practice so many things that just came out of the figment of my imagination that it was amazing, Mike. But then when the more intellectual I became, I abandoned some of those ideas because I said, "Oh, these are the formulas. This is what Osiris did. This is what Tahuti did. This is what this whatever God you could think of. This is what this guy did, or this is the proper pronunciation." But when I was raw hood, I used to do some shit, man. I didn't. I'm not advising anybody to do it because I wouldn't do it now myself. I would do some shit called Henny magic. I would drink Hennessy and just tap the fuck in. Like I was just like it was just like raw, unadulterated power that I would just tap into, and I would get extreme results. And I realized that along my journey, the middle of my journey, when I started adapting formulas, I didn't get as extreme results as I got in the beginning, and I didn't go back to the beginning stages, Mike. But I kind of like mixed the two together, and that's who I became, who I am now, Mike. So if you could talk to me real quick, based on what I just told you about maybe the intellect, maybe naive people relying on faith, like man, this shit just gonna work. I don't know how to explain it, but this shit gonna work. Intellectual people rely on facts. I need give me the analytics, give me the stats. I need to know this. Who did it in our past history? Did the ancient Etruscans do it? Did the Moors did it? If they did it, I'm gonna be able to do it. Intellectual people, they rely on that. How can we meet in the middle where we're just not too far out, and just relying on just ourselves, but also where we're not too dependent on who came before us and what they did to decide what we could do, Mike? How can we meet somewhere in the middle, Mike?
yes, sir, brother Rich.
Yeah.
You speaking to my spirit right now, brother.
Yes, sir.
I, I speak on this in particular
uh,
in detail in the book, in the Divine Quintessence.
great.
So check this out.
Yeah.
Now, I s- I get s- I'm very close to source.
Mm-hmm.
What does that mean, Mike? My daughter, right? She's 9 years old. My daughter has a fertile imagination.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Mm-hmm.
she have a robust imagination, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I do not stifle it at all. Right
Mm-hmm.
now, as we age, right, like you said, we become more intelligent, allegedly, right? As we know more things, our imagination and our creativity becomes more disciplined. Okay, so with that discipline comes a high degree of rigidity, right? Now, with rigidity, you're like, "Ah, that's stupid. Not doing that. Nope, nope, nope." You're right. We're looking at analytics only. So we gotta look. I learned a lot from my daughter. My daughter's imagination is just is she could do anything. I'm like, yep, that's me too. So I feed into her imagination and her creativity, and I play along with her, and we go there, and we don't take walks, we take adventures, right? I'll point at an animal, a lizard, because she just comes off the dome with stuff. Who's that lizard right there? She, oh, that's Larry the lizard. I said, oh, is he from? And we just start having conversations about just different animals, right? But that's how we have to think. We have to tap into that childlike imagination. That child. Think about a child. Everything is novelty. Everything is wonderful, right? They're not used to certain things. Listen, I went through a phase, Brother Rich, when I was just buying cars, buying cars, buying cars, and I would get these super nice cars and be like, meh, meh, right? I had a period. I had a period when I was in a polygamous relationship, right?
Uh-huh.
And I was even getting like that with women. I'm like, I don't want you tonight unless it's both of y'all, right? Which is very problematic. And this is what it is. As you grow in age and grow in experience, and if you are not mindful about indulging in things that's not necessary, you will start becoming numb to these things. You will develop what I call spiritual diabetes, right? Because the regular diabetes is when you're indulging in certain types of food that tastes really good right now. But that real good food right now is an investment into an early death, right?
Right, right, right.
But it feels good right now. And your insulin is trying to protect you, it's spiking, you spiking it, you spiking it. And then it gets to where it's like, you know what? I can't no more. The receptors are burnt out. My receptors with nice things was burning out. My receptors with these beautiful women was burning out. I needed another girl, right?
Mm-hmm.
Ridiculous, right? So this is what happens when we don't stay in that childlike state, right? That innocent state, right? To
Mm-hmm.
where a hug should feel incredible, right? A person smiling at you is like, oh man, that made me nervous. You understand? Where people are sending just nudes freely, boom, 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 right? Porn is in your phone, right? For free. You understand? So women are on the internet. Listen, I had to reprogram myself and detoxify myself off of the spiritual diabetes that I once had. I reversed my symptoms, right?
Right.
But now it's like when I see a woman, just showing everything on it, I just feel like, man, like this looks so bad.
Mm-hmm.
This is so bad, right? Because you're signaling that, hey, y'all, this is what I got. Y'all see it? This is what I got. And me personally, I'm not the type of man that want any man laying eyes on my woman, right? A woman's beauty should be preserved for her husband.
That's facts, yeah.
A woman's beauty should be preserved for a man that will kill and die for her. A woman's not just anybody, right? A woman should never give herself to a man who's not completely dedicated to you and going to do anything for you, right? That will never tell you no, right? You should not do that. So that's one level. But now they're just showing everybody like for free.
Right.
The girls making money doing that. I don't agree with that either, but at least they're getting something from it.
Mm-hmm.
But now women are doing it for free. I have my bikini on. Like, man, you can see everything. Let's not play stupid. I can see everything, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, and what's happening is a lot of people are getting spiritual diabetes without even having real interface with these women. Just seeing it. A lot of people having spiritual diabetes looking at people that they think is popping online. Dang, he got all these cars. I gotta get this, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then your focus is on something that's not important, that's very wasteful, right? And look, everybody I know is wealthy, and there's a lot of guys who strategy is to bring people in. Like marketing is all human psychology, and people are able to market effectively because human behavior is very predictable, right? And one extremely effective way of marketing is lifestyle marketing, right? Showing your car, showing her this, showing her that all the time.
Mm-hmm.
It's like mindless. People just come, they flock,
Mm-hmm.
like honey, like bees to honey.
Mm-hmm.
I look when I started being aware that that's what people was doing, I stopped showing anything like that, and I even stopped caring about those kind of things. You understand what I'm saying? Like for myself personally. So anyway, I'm sorry I be giving you these long answers, brother, but
So
I
good.
mean,
So yeah,
I
I'm
gotta tell a story. I gotta weave it all
yeah,
together.
yeah,
You
you
know what
gotta
I
weave it
mean?
together. Exactly.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Let me,
sir.
well, let me ask you this, Mike. What does when because and the reason why I asked this and some of the questions when a person, a brother or sister or anybody looks at your page or sees what you about, they think masculinity.
Yes, sir.
And when you really get into spirituality, you just mentioned the childlike state. What I want to ask you, Mike, what does the masculine man in a childlike state look like? Because we know what the masculine man looks like. We know what they say the feminine man looks like. We got plenty of examples of that on TV right now. But what does a masculine man in a childlike state look like, Mike?
Yes, sir. But brother Rich,
Yes.
I assume that I'm older than you. I'm 48.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? Okay.
Yes. Yes.
I think I'm kind of masculine. I
It is.
think I'm pretty masculine.
Mm-hmm.
But my childlike state and demeanor commands me to address you as sir,
That's
right? And to be patient and let you speak. And so a
right.
childlike state, I am intentionally humbling myself
Yeah.
with anybody that I deal with, unless I don't respect them, right? And
Indeed.
I'm just not going to be around or deal with people that I don't respect.
Uh,
So if I respect you, I'm going to address you and give you your authority, right?
mm-hmm.
Because I want our interactions to be pleasant, right?
Mm-hmm.
And look, I don't know, nobody knows what other people think, what they've been through today, so on and so forth. So the least that I can do is be as humble and, honor you, give you your respect, you know what I mean, when I'm in your presence,
Mm-hmm.
and, you know, stay in that childlike state. Now, for me, the childlike state mindset is
Mm-hmm.
my work process, right?
Mm-hmm.
I am enamored. I am wowed by the things that I work on, right? The topics that I dive into, they're just fascinating to me. Just like
Yeah.
a child.
Yeah. Like a
When I
child.
was a kid, look, when I was a kid, I was into the airplanes, all of the fighter jets,
Mm-hmm.
and dinosaurs. Oh my God.
Wow.
I knew every dinosaur, right?
Wow.
Everything. Like it was just so amazing to me, right?
Mm-hmm.
So now I'm still into those things to an extent, but it's more broad now. It's a lot more things that I'm fascinated by, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, and I'm just like, this stuff is amazing, right?
Mm-hmm.
I, Brother Rich, I study all the time because I like learning.
Yeah.
That's being a child. Like children are into learning, right?
Yeah. Into
It's,
learning. Yeah. Great point.
so in the book, I break down like a whole system of how society should be, right? And
Mm-hmm.
in that, there should be no, all right, after high school, we're done.
Mm-hmm.
We should be in some form of education for the rest of our lives. Why
Mm-hmm.
would we not? Why stop? Right?
Mm-hmm.
High school is so long ago for all of us, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let's continue learning. This will be a better place. Now, the masculine.
Mm-hmm.
This would be a better place, our society, a
Mm-hmm.
society full of dangerous men,
Mm-hmm.
potentially dangerous men, right? But under voluntary control. Now, I had a conversation with some people one time, and sometimes guys try to posture around me and virtue signal, and I just don't play those games. It's like if you're a good person, just be a good. You don't have to tell me, right?
Yeah.
So the guy was trying to make me look a certain way in front of people
Mm-hmm.
by talking about how peaceful he is and how he's never been in trouble in jail and all that. And I had to just be honest. I said, look, you've never been to jail because you're a pussy.
Oh shit.
You're afraid to break a rule. You're
Mike,
scared.
you told him that, Mike.
Now, and I also told
Mike.
him, I said, bro, you're not peaceful. You're harmless. I'm peaceful.
There's a difference. I'm glad you brought that up.
I can fuck it up for everybody in here,
That's
right?
like, yo,
But I don't. But I don't. You don't have the capacity.
yo, that's
You don't have a person have to have
the
a
capacity.
propensity or a capacity
Right.
to be dangerous in order to be
Be
peaceful.
peaceful.
Because if you don't, you're just harmless. You're just there.
Oh, that's a great point, Mike.
Yes,
Damn,
sir.
that's a great point.
So that's a divinely masculine man is dangerous.
Yeah.
And dangerous is not just like physically strong, right? Now, dangerous can masculinity is just a thing. It's not good or bad.
Mhm,
There's bad people that are masculine. There's good people that are masculine.
mhm, mhm,
Timothy McVeigh was a bad masculine man, and I use him for as an example because he's a twig. People look at him as a dork, right? But he
mhm,
went and blew the spot. That's dangerous. Dangerous is not looking like you can do the things.
mhm,
It's being down to do the things. You
mhm,
committing, right?
mhm.
So when I see people posturing online with guns, I'm like, that don't. It's like that's so unnecessary, right?
Man.
And that's not what dangerous men do. Dangerous men don't even want you to know you got a gun.
Right, 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 right.
So, but a dangerous man is down for to take it to that furthest extent. And like, I'm good with the consequences. Let's go, right? That's a divinely masculine man. Because look, there may be a situation to where I need to risk it all to protect this person, to protect that person, protect somebody that needs protection. I got
Mhm,
to be down, and I personally I am.
mhm, mhm,
I actually live for those moments.
mhm.
I'm gonna tell you why. I'm gonna give you my perspective. And
Yeah.
a lot of people in my family they hate when I talk like this.
Right, right.
I'd rather go out with a bang than a boring one. Like, oh yeah, he's cool. Let me go out. Let me go out with a story that's beneficial to somebody. It's good for people. I'm all right with that. Maybe I'll grow out of that, but I haven't yet.
I feel you on that though. I feel that
Because you're a divinely masculine
I
man. So
feel
you
you
get
on
it.
that.
Yeah. We're all gonna die.
You know, oh man, I could go deeper, but I ain't even gonna go deeper on that. But I feel
Brother
you.
Rich,
I
think
feel you
about it.
on
Think
that.
about it. Think about it. Do you have children?
Yes, two.
Okay. So I'm sure your affairs are in order or you're working on it, whatever, right?
Yeah.
If I die right now, they really get right.
Mm,
They're beneficiaries of all my assets, right? So it ain't like my kids are not gonna have. I've been teaching them all my life, right?
mm-hmm,
And if I'm gone, they still have my book. I have multiple books. Just one is out right now.
mm-hmm,
All my teachings, the videos is there. They still have my framework.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
If I gotta go, I gotta go, right?
Yeah.
I'm not saying just for no reason. I'm just saying for a right cause or just cause. That's an honorable death.
Mm.
Listen, I was fascinated. Another thing I was fascinated with when I was young and still to this day is Bushido, right? And that was the warrior code in feudal Japan.
Yeah. Yeah.
Bro,
Got
bro.
talk
So
about that
these
real quick.
all right, so
Yeah.
it's to me it's beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah.
So a warrior, a samurai was a slave, right?
Yes. Yes.
Now
Sir.
the slaves back then wasn't what we know of slaves with chattel slavery, right?
Yeah.
What
Yeah.
Europeans did to us. It was like this is your life's mission. This is all you're gonna do, right? And they were a slave or a servant to their master, whoever hired them to protect them, right? So a samurai's job, his role was to study, study philosophy, poetry, penmanship, like calligraphy, kanji, what it's called. Keep his blades proper and train, right? His art. And he had to be on, he meditated, he prayed, he had to be on point for his master. If he ever dishonored his post, he had a special blade, a smaller blade that he kept right here. And this was ceremonial. His one of his guys would come and he would have to disembowel himself. And just so he's not in pain for too
Ooh,
long, his
yeah.
his best homie chop his head off, right? Because he dishonored his master. I think that's the most beautiful, honorable type of existence. Because think about this, bro.
Yeah.
People go through life not knowing what the hell to do with their lives. You know what I'm saying? Like try this, try that. And some men are warriors. They go to jail a lot, they get in trouble, they get in a lot of fights because you don't have your route. You don't have your path articulated for you because we live in such a chaotic society. They have order and structure, right? All right, you are a warrior. Go. Young age, you learning that from a young age, and that's it. That's it, right? They can see which one's going to be the warriors, which one's going to be the poets, or whatever, right? But the war, and I just resonate with that because that's always been my life path. Like I was a boxer at a young age, and I got enough. I was I was attracted to violence, right? Because that is a masculine trait. That is a human. It's a reason why combat sports make so much money. You
Mm,
even go back to Roman Colosseums. It was violence. Men fighting lions is violence. It is a necessity for survival to be violent, to be formidable. We don't have that necessity anymore because life is pretty safe, right, for most societies. But we still need it, even if it's just to watch it, right? And some of us have to articulate that kind of force and that kind of violence. But we have outlets like sports, right? Which that's where it should be. It shouldn't be just people shouldn't be violent out in society. But that is a life path. And I always thought the Bushido code. Now, here's
yeah.
the thing: they were so honorable
Mm,
that that class of people elevated to become rulers. They were before like modern government started really and politicians started permeating.
mm-hmm.
The samurais were the ruling class for a period of time because they were so honorable. People listen. People respect violence, and people
Mm,
respect violent people.
mm,
Think about like I'm sure you've seen Mike Tyson on podcasts, right?
mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
People like bowing. Oh my God, I'm such a fan. Oh
Mm-hmm.
my God. Mike Tyson is a really violent, ruthless man, right? I love Mike Tyson. He's a good friend of mine. I love him, right? It's a brother. But it's like, why y'all so
You,
puppy
you,
dog
you, you
wagging
ever
wagging
interviewed
your
him?
tail?
You ever interviewed him, Mike?
He actually had me on his podcast.
Okay, man.
Yes,
Wow.
sir. Yes, sir.
Amazing, amazing.
So we go back. So I'm saying though, people like, why y'all acting like that? Because
Mm,
y'all, you want me on your team. You want to be close to me. You want to be in my good graces.
mm-hmm.
You don't want me mad at you,
Mm-hmm.
right? That's what it be.
Mm. And it's funny you say that, and I'm glad you brought that up. In terms, I think you said the book Bushido. Is that how you pronounce the name?
Yes, sir.
In terms of and what you said about death, I've always been fascinated, Mike, with
Yes,
a
sir.
with an honorable with having an honorable death.
Yes,
And
sir.
it's like weird. I feel like a weirdo. Because I'll be thinking about this shit, and I know nobody else is thinking about this shit. And my lady, she'll tell me all the time. She'll say, you know what she called me? She'll say, yo, you remind me of Jon Snow. She'll call me Jon Snow. And I don't watch TV, so she'll watch Game of Thrones. I don't know if you ever watched it, but she said, yo, you remind me of you Jon Snow, nigga. And I'm like, who's I, I don't know. I have no idea who Jon Snow is. But when I come to find out he embodies integrity, natural leadership, and selflessness in a world like the world we live in today, a world of betrayal, a world of just people just doing horrible shit. So it's like when I found that, I'm like, oh, that's why she said that. But like all the time, like I be thinking something wrong with me, Mike. Like, cause I think about death and I think about it in a good way. And people be trying to avoid the idea of death in their mind. I embrace it. And I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna die, and oh my god, it's gonna be so beautiful. And I'd be like, sometimes, Mike, sometimes I'll be like, let me stop thinking. I ain't trying to die right now, though. I'll be talking to myself, Mike. I'll be like, hold up, I ain't trying to die right now, though. But what I'm saying, when I do die, it's gonna be beautiful. You know what I'm saying? So
Yes,
hearing you
sir.
say that and about the ancient culture, and I heard about that before, it's just dope because I don't hear many brothers just talk about death in such an amazing way. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, man.
Is life not amazing?
Yeah,
So why wouldn't that be amazing,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
So once again, you have people that have taught you, like, and I'm not saying you particular, but us
yeah, yeah.
in America, is the Europeans, and they had their way of teaching things, and everything was morbid, everything was, gothic. Look, I went to a Catholic school growing up, right?
Me
in,
too. Me too. Me
in
too.
Brooklyn, New York, called Our Lady of Loretta,
Okay.
and it's a legitimate Gothic architect. That's a style of architecture,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm like, oh, this is scary. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? There would be statues of saints stabbing demons, and I remember as a kid, like, why is this here? Like, we're kids. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? Like, it didn't feel right then. Like, this doesn't seem appropriate. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So you have these nude babies flying. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Right? So all of these morbid things, and then death is spoken about so morbid, right? And I think death is a beautiful. It's a beautiful. Listen, it's an escape from this. Sometimes this is a hell here on earth, right?
Mm-hmm.
And some people that are dying, I have this. I've had this conversation with friends.
Mm-hmm.
They have a family member that's dying, right?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe an older family member, and that family member is holding on and holding on. And I'd be like, yo,
Let
y'all,
them go.
y'all should stop being sad around your grandma or whomever because she's probably holding on for y'all little pathetic asses, and she ready to go. So give her love, like you know what I'm saying. Love on her, like let her know y'all good. And people they do that and they let go because it's like it's time to go.
Yeah.
We're not going to be here forever, right? So why make it a bad thing, right? Look, I didn't. My the closest people to me passed away. My grandfather,
Mm-hmm.
my mother, right? I didn't cry at neither one of their funerals, right? I'm like, dang, cry. What's wrong with me? But I just, it is what it is. It's not meant for that, right? It's not meant for that. For one, like, say for instance, my mother, we're closer now. I
Mm-hmm.
think about her more now, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, and I honor her memory. That's eternal, is the thoughts, the memories, right?
Mm-hmm.
Flesh is not. It's just not.
It's just
The
not.
flesh will betray us. We're going to
Gotcha.
get old. It's going to break down. It's not going
Gotcha.
to be beautiful.
Gotcha.
This right here,
Mm-hmm.
brother Rich,
Mm-hmm.
brother Rich. Part of me having a sense of urgency to do blog, have a blog site to
Mm-hmm.
write books, is
Mm-hmm.
because I know I'm going to depart here.
There
So
you
let
go.
me leave this
There you go.
because nope, not, if I put a piece of content, a written piece of content out today,
Yeah.
out of all these people that follow me, maybe 5, 10 people will read it
Mm-hmm.
today.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe
But
one next week,
yeah.
maybe three in 3 months. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But it's always there for people to drip, just pick up a little piece when they need it, right?
Mm-hmm.
I would have people. I remember back in the day, a guy like remember I told you I would do training videos, and then I have the mental jewels videos, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people were like, "Man, I don't want to see this shit." It's like it's cool. And one guy was like, "Yo, Mike, I'm one of those people that hated on these mental jewels videos,
Mm-hmm.
but this one right here, I needed to hear this today."
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, brother, it was for you. It was exactly for that. That gave me a that was a dope feeling for me, sense of purpose, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it let me know like, yo, keep doing that. You're doing the right thing. So what? Those don't get a lot of burn. They're not viral.
Mm-hmm.
Listen, the right thing is never viral. It's never.
Ooh.
It's never.
Yeah.
The right thing is a little hard. It's difficult, right? And people don't want to hear that. People don't want to hear, because they know they got to step up and do certain things. Listen, deep down, people don't want to accept their godhood because tapping into your godhood takes work.
A lot of responsibility.
It means, oh, you trying to drink some liquor? Really? Oh, you smoking? Really? Oh, you being lazy? Really? Oh, you about to lie and call yourself a god?
Mm,
What?
mm,
You feel me? So, oh, you ain't gonna help your sister or your brother or whomever? That's not godly. It's a responsibility. It's not just saying it, it's actions,
mm,
right? So even you, brother Rich, like you do content
mm,
of a spiritual nature.
mm,
That's a good thing, bro.
mm,
That's a beautiful thing. That is such a gift to people. That's godly work. That's godly work. That's ministry.
mm,
You understand? So here's what I love about what you do, what Billy do. Listen, brother, I've observed like my spiritual foundation and framework. I think is beautiful. I
mm,
think the Nation of Islam is such a wonderful spiritual institution. But
mm,
I've sat in churches and I'm like, man, as a young man, and thought like people that need to be here ain't gonna feel comfortable coming in here.
mm,
They don't got nice clothes to wear.
mm,
They ain't want to be judged. You know what I'm saying?
mm, mm,
The beautiful thing about you having your ministry on YouTube, they ain't got to be dressed.
Mm.
It doesn't matter how they come, right? They can sit here and listen to a good word. That is a gift, brother. Like, there's no barrier of entry. Come in here and give me offering. Come here, dress what you got on this week. People judging you, none of that. You doing it right here. This is a huge gift, right? And I salute you for that, bro.
Thank you, bro.
That's what life is about. It ain't about us. You feel me? I'm cool. I'm like, nobody's cool. Not at all.
Wow.
You know? So you're cool by being useful to people.
Dope. I love that. I love you're cool by being useful to people. Yeah. Mike, listen. I'm gonna tell you, Mike. I'm gonna tell you right now. I'm gonna tell everybody. We got about 1,300 people in the chat. Where's your book available? Because I'm about 5 copies of it tonight myself, and I'm gonna keep one for myself, and I'm gonna give out the other 4 copies to certain people on the channel throughout the week when I do shows. But your conversation, your aura, the way you present things, brother, we need more brothers like you. I appreciate you for what you bring to this world, brother. And wow, just an amazing show. It put a smile on my face. It put a genuine smile on my face, family, to have this conversation tonight on a Saturday. It make me feel good, man. Like, it make me feel good as family. So make sure y'all support this brother and y'all buy his new book. I feel as though this is like, just based on what he said and what he said on Billy's show and everything I've heard from him to this point, I'm super excited. How can we get this book, Mike Rashid?
Look in the chat right.
Hold up.
Now. Boom. Oh, it didn't post.
Yeah, because you probably put a link, and only I can put a link. Yeah.
Okay. I was trying to send the
send it to me in the private chat, and I'll post it.
Okay, I could do that.
Yeah, send the exact thing you just sent in the private chat to me.
How do I do a private chat on here? Just at
all the way on the right side. It should say private chat. All the way on the right side.
Expand my screen, but it's on Amazon. Amazon, we are already at bestseller.
Yeah, heard. It's on me. Yeah,
bestseller, something like that. I don't see that, brother.
All the way on the right side.
If somebody, Kim Hawkins, that's family right there. If somebody can do me they can't post it either.
Yeah, they can't post it.
Yeah, just go to Amazon and put Mike Rashid book. It'll pop
I think King Simon posted it because he's a moderator. All right, so family, so this is what it is. King Simon posted it in the chat from the Forbidden Knowledge website.
Yes, sir.
Family, I advise.
You know what? If you want it faster, Amazon.
Okay, okay.
Amazon. Yes, sir.
What's the name of the book? What's the name of it?
The Divine Quintessence.
Okay.
This is interesting. This person says, I don't date a black woman. My wife is black. I just keep my business off the internet, you know. But listen, if I didn't date black women,
she's been you got some women are mad at. Let me give it. You got to be in a timeout because she's been posting this the whole show. What woman you got upset? Hold up, Mike. Hold up, Mike. Time out, Mike. You got somebody upset. This woman, this is right. She been posting about you the whole show, and I've been trying to ignore it. But Mike, what you said about black women? They like, they mad as a motherfucker at you, Mike.
I protect black women, right? When there's lames on the internet that shits on black women, I speak out against them. Nobody does this. Nobody says anything. I do. So look, I'm on StreamYard, so it was nothing on there. I clicked on comments to try to post a link, but I saw that first thing pop up. It's so funny. It's so funny. People, it's like, I don't know what my woman look like because I'm not gonna subject my personal life to the wretched internet. You know what I'm saying? If you love somebody, you keep them away from this stupid internet.
Definitely.
Mess.
Hands down.
But yeah. So the woman carrying my name is heavily melanated, African, black, beautiful, powerful, right? And it ain't for y'all on the internet.
It's a sad thing, family. And I didn't ban the sister, but I put her in timeout. Y'all gotta stop that because you done posted that 3 times, and I let you slide because I'm trying to concentrate on the show. But family, we gotta stop this shit. There's so much amazing information being disseminated tonight, and some of us can't even concentrate on that because we're worried about the wrong things.
Yes.
So I want us to worry about the
Brother
right.
Rich,
Yes, yes, sir.
excuse me. Please pardon me for butting in.
Yeah.
But I typically don't even deal with comments because I've been on the internet for 12 years, and I went from using wanting to like find people and hey, find this person's IP address like crazy. You know what I mean? But it's just like it's a fight that you will never win, right?
Yeah.
These people are anonymous. They have whatever insecurities. Because look, you're a solid person, right?
Mhm.
I highly doubt that you would ever go to somebody's space and say negative things to
No,
them.
never, never,
It's so bizarre. I
no,
don't if somebody
never.
I don't like, I'm just not paying attention to them at all.
Yeah.
But to type something and then you hit enter, right? It's like, do you have friends? Like,
Yeah.
what do your friends think about you? You know what I mean? But that's I just don't deal with comments like that. You know what I'm saying?
No, indeed.
Yes,
Hey,
sir.
Mike, listen, man, I want to thank you for coming on the show, joining us tonight. Yo, Mike, yo, damn, I don't know how often you travel. We are having a Stone Mountain trip on June 28th in Atlanta.
Hmm.
And you more than welcome to come if you're able to. I know you got all types of things going on. But listen, it's gonna be Billy Carson is gonna be there, 19 Keys is gonna be there. So many people within this black spiritual community are gonna be there. It's gonna be an amazing just outside event where we meet each other. We do a physical activity where we're hiking up a mountain. So I
Hmm.
just wanted to extend my invitation, Mike. If you have any availability that day, you're more than welcome to come, my brother. I just
Yes, sir.
just want to tell you, my brother. That's on
Yes,
June
sir.
28th.
Yeah, offline, you can just text me the details and I'll see if I can make it work, brother. That'd
No,
be dope. That's fire. Thank you for the invite.
definitely. I'll text you tomorrow all the details
Yes,
and
sir.
let you know. But you've been to Atlanta before, right?
Yes, sir. Quite a few times.
Okay, great. Yeah, yeah.
I got some really good friends in Atlanta.
You been to Stone Mountain before?
Never been to Stone Mountain though.
Oh man, Mike, you got to go there,
Yeah.
man. It's a beautiful thing to climb that mountain to feel accomplished and to be on top of that mountain.
Yes,
And all the stories we hear about Stone Mountain and the granite and our ancestors. It's just a
mhm.
beautiful feeling, Mike.
Yes,
So,
sir.
but I'm gonna holler at you tomorrow anyway. I want to chop it up with you about a few things anyway, Mike.
Yes,
So
sir.
I'm glad I connected with you. I'm glad you made your
Likewise.
debut on the channel.
Likewise.
Everybody, thank you to everybody for tuning in tonight, Saturday night. Mike, thank you so much, my brother. I'm gonna talk to you tomorrow, my brother.
Thanks for having me on, brother. I
Yes,
appreciate
sir.
you.
All right, peace, Mike.
Peace.
Peace. Family, I will see you on Monday. I'm getting out of here. Thank you, King Simon, for being in the chat. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. With that being said, I'm getting out of here, family. I am getting out of here. Let me see what y'all talking about. Let me see what y'all talking about. Blah, 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 blah. Yeah. Somebody said, "Do you have a flyer?" I'm gonna have an official flyer for Stone Mountain next week. Yeah, so I'm gonna have a official flyer for Stone Mountain next week. All right, all right. Yeah. I heard about they found a burned body. I did hear about that today. I heard it was a white dude too. I heard it was a white dude. They found a burnt white dude on Stone Mountain. We ain't got nothing to be worried about. We got official security. I don't know what that's about. On what that's about, but we got official security rolling with us on Stone Mountain. Official security, the same security that was with me on my last 2 events. Shout out to Shaw and his security team. But we got official. Hold on, let me get rid of this. Let me get rid of. You gotta go. Some people are just pathetic. Yeah, I had to kick the sister out. She came back and still trolling. She had to go. She won't be on the channel. She'll probably create a troll account and come back. But Stone Mountain is gonna be popping. Oh, Kingdom Child says she coming. Okay. I'm gonna see you there. I will definitely see you there. I would definitely see that. And this is why sometimes I don't even bother putting people on timeout, because the people in time that you put on timeout should just be kicked out in the first place. But sometimes I feel bad, like but just kick the mother effers out. You know what I'm saying? Woo! Somebody said 7-hour drive ain't nothing. That's what's up. Yeah, we're gonna be deep up there. But we got official security. We got official security, and we got the drummers, we got drones in the sky. Family, we got drones in the sky. We got official security, we got drums, we got all types of things going on. It's gonna be the most. Oh, David, you doing 5 hours? Okay, so David doing 5 hours. Somebody said she gonna be at Stone Mountain trying to find a cut. Nah, trolls don't go that hard. Trolls love the internet. The internet is their best friend. Trolls don't go. You rarely see trolls in person. Rarely. They got to be a real dedicated troll. Trolls usually lurk on the internet because it's such a safe haven. Such a safe haven. You could write some fuck shit and just log off and close your computer and be miserable. Then log back in and project your misery. It's all projection. You project your misery on the internet, then you close it, then you got to live out your misery in your life. Then when you're tired of living out your misery, you open up your computer to project it again. You close it, you live it out. It's a pattern, it's a loop. So, but they never come in person. It's too much to deal with a person. Trust me, they're not going to do it in person. Trust me when I say that. Trust me. Yeah, okay. Somebody said 5 hours. And say, yo, we deep. We gonna be deep, family. We gonna be deep. Yeah, we gonna be deep, y'all. We gonna be deep. I'm gonna have a magnificent show on Monday. I'm not gonna tell y'all who yet, because I still gotta call them. But in my mind, I already know who. But I gotta, get the guarantee in person. So yeah, stay tuned for that. Yo, did the Knicks win? Hold up. Did the Knicks win? Hold up. Please tell me my Knicks ain't. Hold up, family. Hold up. Please tell me my Knicks ain't lose today. Hold up. Please. Please. Did they play today? 8 o'clock. Family, did the Knicks lose today? Oh my God. I'm from New York. Hold up. Did they? Oh my God, the Knicks lost. Oh shit. Oh, they out there. Oh my God. All right. I gotta go, y'all. The Knicks is out of the playoffs. They lost. Oh my God. Oh shit. Jesus Christ. If you're not from New York, we've been suffering from the Knicks for years. We've been disappointed by the Knicks for God. Somebody said, Devon said, don't cry, dry your eyes. Oh man, it's pain. It's oh God. Being a Knicks fan, and I haven't. I'm gonna tell y'all. You know what the God truth is? I stopped watching basketball around the pandemic. I just got turned off. The pandemic turned me off to so many things because I seen who was on whose side. And I seen what all these organizations and corporations was doing, and it just turned me off. And I stopped watching a lot of things. Oh, man. All right. Well, somebody said go Pacers. All right. Well, shout out to the Pacers. I ain't name. Shout out to the Pacers. But listen, family, I'll be back Monday. I'm going to be back Monday. Let me get out of here. Absolutely wonderful show tonight with Mike Rashid. June 28th, Stone Mountain. We're gonna continue to promote that, and I might do something after Stone Mountain. I might do something special after Stone Mountain where people could come out and chill and gather and congregate after that. So stay tuned for announcement with that. But with that being said, I'm getting out of here, family. Everybody have a good night. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Brother Rich, Black Magic 363, Radiohead Rich. Shout out to Rashid. The brother Mike Rashid, absolutely magnificent show. Shout out to King Simon in the chat, the moderator holding it down. And I will see you all on Monday. All right, family?